I apologize for running just a couple minutes late. Had a little bit of discussion there. I want to welcome everybody to the All Good Council meeting for February the 13th, 2017. Supposed to start at 6 p.m., running about 2 minutes late, looks like. I want to call the meeting to order. We'll have a roll call. Ms. Larson?
Honorable Mayor Bilbrey.
Present.
Honorable Vice Mayor Dyer.
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Norris.
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Green.
Present.
Honorable Councilman Hurd.
Present.
Our invocation will be led by Mr. Keith Morrison.
If you would please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for many blessings of life, Lord. We thank you for the promise of everlasting life. We thank you for your love and sacrifice of Jesus on the cross, Lord, for us to forgive us of all the wrongs that we've committed, Lord. We pray that you would guide us and direct us and that we would be humble and follow, Lord, and lean on you and trust you, Lord, and move that direction you'd have us to go. We pray for those, Lord, that are in hospitals or sick and afflicted, Lord, that you would just reach down and touch them and comfort them, Lord. Pray for those that have lost loved ones, that you would just help them through this time to know that you have brought them home and that they'll see them again someday. We thank you for all these wonderful things. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Chief Gary Harris. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is to consider approval of the agenda as presented.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we amend this agenda to have a discussion and maybe even a subsequent vote regarding the employee handbook and other items.
Okay.
We can put that at the end, sir.
Okay, the employee handbook was one thing that you wanted to discuss. What else did you say?
Just other items related to our city employees. And I'll make a motion on that.
Before we make a motion, do we have to have each one of those listed out like we do on the agenda, the things that we're going to be discussing, that he wants to amend?
To add them?
Well, I mean, to know what, he says, and other things. You know, over here on the back, we've got everything added to the back that we're going itemized out.
Well, they can be discussed all as one at the end if that's what you want to present.
All is one. Is that good?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. We have a motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Green.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval of minutes in council meeting that was held January the 17th, 2017. I think everybody's had a chance to review those minutes. Is there any discussion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Green.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval of the minutes of the council meeting held January 23rd, 2017. I think everybody had a chance to look at those, or familiar with those. Is there any discussion?
I'll make a motion.
No discussion. We have a motion and
Second.
second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Green.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Consider approval to suspend the reading of ordinance 612-17 and 614-17. We will discuss each one of those shortly. Any discussion?
No. I'll make a motion.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Green.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Okay. That brings us, the floor will now be open for second and final reading of ordinance 612-17. Consider approval of second and final reading of ordinance 612-17 to change the zoning classification of approximately .83 acres located on First Avenue from R1 Single Family Residential District to an R3 High Density Residential District. Keith, would you like to speak to that?
This is a zoning request, has been through the Planning Commission and has received positive recommendation from Planning Commission. It came to you last month for first reading. This is second and final reading. This will move this property from R1 to R3, which will allow a smaller lot size. Mr. Hammock is looking to purchase the property and is here representing as the purchaser and wishes to build 3 single-family homes on the property.
Okay. Does Mr. Hammock like to speak? There he is.
I'm Andy Hammock. I just, what I said last meeting, I just want to build 3 homes there and kind of join what's across the street, what's happened there, be the same zoning.
Okay. Is there anybody here that opposes that? I'd gotten a phone call from one of your the neighbors that live there. Are you familiar with who that lady was or her concerns or anything?
No, I have to.
Okay, any discussion? Okay.
These are the properties right across from Phillips Bend, is that correct? Okay.
All right.
I'll make a motion.
Motion on the floor.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote?
Mayor Belpre,
No.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
The floor will now be open for second and final reading for ordinance 614-17. Consider approval of second and final reading of ordinance 614-17, amending the fiscal year 2015-16 budget passed by ordinance 601-15. Keith?
This is a request from the auditor. We received a check in the amount of $28,629 for a wrecked car. We opted to keep the car, which shortened the check to that amount by $1,250. The salvage sale of the car netted us $8,125, which brings us to the total of $36,754. The auditor wanted that shown in general fund revenues as well as the capital outlay in the police department by the same dollar amount for both the check and the salvage sale of the car. The replacement car actually cost us $27,262.40, which means off of the insurance check and the sale of the salvaged car, we were in the good by $9,491.60.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Is this the only thing added to that ordinance?
It is.
Motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote?
Mayor Belpre,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval of blank for Williams Square Bank stabilization in the amount of blank. Keith, you'd like to discuss those bid tabulations?
This is part of the Williams Circle drainage project that we've been working on several years. This particular portion is at the back of Williams Square where there's severe bank erosion threatening a home. We've worked with TDEC to finally get approved for a permit to repair that bank and prevent any further erosion. This will put the netted baskets called gabion baskets filled with rock back in there and allow us to build the bank out and return the yard of the homeowner back to where it was, and also prevent future damage to the bank and allow it to drain properly. This was done by our engineer and bid out. The bidders were GBR Construction in the amount of $22,250, Elk Mountain in the amount of $29,500, Blevins Enterprises, $37,900, and Viking Products at $52,900. The low bidder is GBR Construction, and our engineer recommends the council go with the low bidder in this case.
Okay, any discussion?
Will this take care of most of the problems in that area, Keith? This bank stabilization that we have, that Haley has on record now is what we're gonna do?
At the back corner, we think this will take care of that. However, we do feel at some point we're going to have to address the bridge and a small section below the bridge in between the first section we did and the bridge is still going to have to be addressed. GBR Construction actually did the first phase of this project. Elk Mountain was awarded the second phase, so this is actually the third phase that we are completing here.
At some point, that bridge eventually is going to factor into being needed replaced too as well.
That is correct. We have had to do some stabilization work. There were some holes starting to come into it. Director Jones and Public Works staff had to go address that and rebuild the bank and then pour some concrete in it and solidify it so we didn't lose the road. But at this point, it's stable. But we are going to have to address that issue at some point.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve GBR Construction for this stabilization job in the amount of $22,250.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval of blank for the old City Hall roof replacement in the amount of, Keith, you'd like to discuss the bids?
The bid was put out on the old City Hall roof. We placed this as two optional bids. The shingle would be a total strip down and re-shingle and architectural 30-year shingles. The metal would be an overlay over the current shingles. We allowed the bidders both options. Cookville Sheet Metal bid it for shingle only at $13,995 and does not recommend putting metal on. JT Seals Construction bid shingles at $21,124 and metal at $20,137. And King Construction bid the shingle at $23,159 and the metal at $26,477. These amounts do include the entire building, and Mr. Bill that owns the barber shop would reimburse us for his percentage of the building on this bid.
Okay. Any discussion? What's on it now?
It has shingles on it now. I believe Director Jones and I were talking about that today. He believed they'd been on there for 20 years, maybe.
Okay.
Your best estimate, Keith, what's our best route here, metal or shingles?
Considering the cost, I think shingle's going to be your best bet. They are going to strip it all the way back down and re-shingle it out. It would be easier to repair in the event we need to do some small repairs than the metal. And it would, considering the price, I think the shingle is going to be the best route.
What's the life expectancy of the metal?
Not exactly sure on that.
If it's 40 years, it'd be the option to go if it was.
Some of it's going to depend on what we decide to do with the building, I think, too. Cookville Sheet Metal does not recommend the metal. They say the screws back out, causes it to leak. Easier to damage in a hailstorm, and they just pretty much wouldn't put the metal on it, they said.
I kind of got an issue with just screwing the metal down over the shingles anyway. It's just seems like capping over a problem rather than getting all the way down to where it needs to be and fixing it. I don't know. How do y'all feel about it?
I say shingles, go with shingles. As you said, they were what, 20 year, 30 year,
I think they're 20 or 30-year architectural shingles. They're 25.
25 year?
Make a motion.
On.
Shingles, or the-
Bidding for Cookville Sheet Metal Works.
To do the shingle roof?
Do the shingle roof.
I'll second. Motion, roll call, motion and second on the floor, roll call vote?
Mayor Bilbrey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Consider approval of blank for seal and stripe of parking lot in the amount of, Keith, you'd like to talk about that?
This was under the $8,000 sealed bid limit, so we took quotes on this. The three companies that actually turned in quotes were Bennett Paving LLC for $7,448, McLeod's Asphalt for $7,650, and Line Pro Striping for $6,985. That does include complete restripe of both parking lots. The handicap spaces would be marked back out. There would be 2 or 3 no parking spots that would be marked back out at the community center, as well as including $765 worth of hot pour crack fill from the lowest apparent bidder here. Line Pro came in the lowest bid. And I would recommend the low bidder, but we can go with whichever the council chooses.
Should we not work on the inside of it first? Spend the money on the inside to change it before we do the parking lot?
We've got some money to do the inside. The parking lot's going to start deteriorating more rapidly. We can pull off and just do City Hall parking lot and focus on the inside if you all wish to do so. We actually replaced some of the parking stops at the community center a few weeks ago because they were a trip hazard. Some of the holes that are starting to come in the parking lot are going to cause any winter weather to get down in there and start cracking the pavement up. We're going to have to do a patch on it anyway. We are going to try to do some work on the inside here soon. We're working on trying to figure out what to do and how to do that right now.
Are we still considering the expansion of the library?
We are met with Miss Brenda at the community center trying to work out ways to accommodate her storage needs, and we're going to try to clean out some storage rooms, see what we can get just by doing that, and focus on getting that extra room cleaned out for the library.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve Line Pro striping at $6,985 for the seal and stripe of the parking lots.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Belbry,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Consider approval to declare property on Quinlan Lake Road, map 0260, Group B parcel of 19.00 as surplus and auction. Keith, would you like to speak to that?
Now, this was a piece of property several years ago that we surplused and tried to sell. The bids that came in, the council rejected those, felt like they were kind of low. The lot size is 75 by 117. We discussed it last month. It was decided we should try to surplus this again. I've talked to Tays Realty and Auction about doing an online auction, and feel like that may be our best route if you all wish to auction this and get rid of it.
Okay. Any discussion on that?
When did the city acquire this piece of property? Any idea?
Back in the 70s or 80s maybe. The only thing that we're aware of the city has done with it is remove dirt and used it for field somewhere. Not sure where we got it or how we got it, but we've ended up with a small lot on Quinlan Lake Road.
What were those dimensions again, Keith? I'm sorry.
The lot dimension is 75 by 117.
We got any prospective buyers?
We've had a few interested parties. The reason I brought it back up was a gentleman came in and asked me about it recently. So I feel like there's going to be some interest in it again. Hopefully that will make the sale of it a little more profitable for us at this time.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, I'll second. Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Belbry,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer,
Yes.
Honorable Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Green,
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Consider approval to purchase a 6-ton asphalt recycler trailer from Stringfellow in the amount of $40,720 on TDOT state contract number 41291.
That's a misprint on the screen. It should be 40,720, just as the mayor stated. This is on a TDOT state contract, which keeps us from having to bid it if we wish to do this. This is a asphalt hot box that would allow us to get asphalt from anywhere. Store them up is basically what you would call a cookie at the shop on pallets, and then anytime we need it, fire it up. We could dump those cookies inside that recycler, let it heat overnight, and the next morning be ready to hot patch just like we'd gotten it straight out of the plant. It would also allow us to do a little bit of recycling. If we could get clean pavement that was in good shape, we'd be able to reuse it, and we could take more time and be able to patch more efficiently with this machine.
And this is one of the things we cut out from last year's budget?
It was one of the things that was cut out from last year, yes.
Okay. All righty. Discussion?
Is that paperwork in our packet? I didn't see it.
Which one?
About that recycler trailer.
It's right here.
Okay, right here. Here's your one.
Should be in the packet.
I'm sorry, Keith, I must have overlooked it.
There it is.
Okay, I got you.
The wintertime's hard on those roads. It doesn't take hitting a couple of those big potholes. I wish we'd had something to put in them. Gravel just don't hold up.
The hot box would allow us to patch year-round.
Right.
It doesn't prevent you from doing winter patching. You could actually do it in the wintertime just as well as you can in the summer.
If approved, this money will come from
Public Works capital outlay. Yes.
capital outlay.
I make a motion that we, oh,
That's all right.
No,
It's
go ahead,
pullable with a pickup?
Have to be pulled with one of the heavier trucks, not
Okay.
just a regular pickup, but yes, it could be pulled.
we got them. I make a motion I make a motion to accept it.
I'll second.
Motion to accept and a second. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer?
Yes.
Honorable Norris?
Yes.
Honorable Green?
No.
Honorable Hurd?
Yes.
Consider approval of supplement request from Reagan Smith, CEI, for rail trail project. Keith, would you like to speak to that?
There are two supplements being requested by Reagan Smith. They were the CEI consulting engineer on the project. Supplement 1 covers Phase 1, part of the construction that's completed. Supplement 2 would cover Phase 2, part of the contract, which includes the establishment of the shrubs. Per TDOT requirements, the shrubs had to go for a different timeline, and they do require that a CEI be on contract for the entire duration of the project, so we had to extend it for that. The total for both supplements is $63,667.85. 20% of that total would come from the governments at $12,733.57. The money is already in place to cover these supplements and would not cost us any additional money. It's already been paid and already there, as well as the fact that we anticipate by the end of the contract, once the bushes meet their Phase 2 establishment period, we anticipate the contract to be reduced for the final contract, and we will not be out any more money for this.
Okay. Any discussion?
This all goes back to proximity of the rail trail and concerning the fence that's been constructed thus far.
Yes, a lot of it's the fence. A lot of the Phase 1 supplement is where the CEI had to make infield changes to meet necessary restrictions that were there that weren't included as part of the original design contract. There were a lot of drainage issues that had to be addressed in the field, a lot of additional things that had to be monitored in the field, and the CEI is asking for supplements to cover those extra work items. The additional item on Phase 2 was that TDOT requires an establishment period to be between a certain time frame. The end of construction did not meet that time frame, and TDOT required that we extend the contract for those bushes to be to get a chance to get hold. And what they'll have to do is come back through and do a bush count and account for all the fence that was put up. And we anticipate when all of that is completed that the contract price in the end will actually be reduced. And again, this money's already in place. And City of Cookeville is holding the money. They're just asking for permission to pay these and clear the books on these two phases.
I'll make a motion.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer?
Yes.
Honorable Norris?
Yes.
Honorable Green?
Yes.
Honorable Hurd?
Yes.
Brings us to our city administrator's report.
The budget comparative for the month is 58.33%. General fund revenues are at 47.74%. That's $1,740,812.85. General fund expense is at 36.62%. That's $1,400,487.86. Water sewer revenues at 61.11%. That's $958,713.73. Water sewer expense is at $845,689.08. Total account balances are currently $8,350,510.22. The Burton Branch project is underway. The engineer that is working on our behalf will be here tomorrow and begin the monitoring process. The utility construction will be beginning. The signs are up and they were moving pipe and beginning to make their initial cuts today. On the 2017-2018 budget, I'll have you out some sample sheets in the next few weeks. Also put the budget 5-year plan in your packet so you could review some of the projects we had laid out to see if there was anything you wish to move around or if you wanted to discuss it any further.
I'd like to make a suggestion with the account balance, being that the city has $8,350,000. I think we should get some public opinion and take some of that money, maybe a quarter of $250,000, and finish up our sidewalks.
We could consider including that in the 17-18 budget if you all wish to do so. One of the projects I'm going to try to undertake this year is we've got $40,000 in money for sidewalks. Director Jones and I measured off around the ballpark down 4th Avenue and approximately 1,700 linear feet of sidewalk, and we think we can complete that within this year's budget and then put sidewalk all the way around through there.
Is that around by Mr. Gift's house?
It would be. It would start up here at the parking lot at the ballpark, go all the way around the curve, and go all the way down to the church down in the bottom at Quinlan Lake Road.
He's been waiting for that sidewalk for quite a while, hasn't he? Okay.
Are you gonna have to buy any of that land down through there?
No, we should be able to stay in the right-of-way and be in good shape. I don't think we'll have any issues with right-of-way. We'll have to work on a few drainage issues, but I think we can clear that up pretty easy.
That'll be on the left, I say the left-hand side, concerning Mr. Gift's side of the road because of the other side being so steep.
That is correct.
Okay.
Any more other discussion on the budget issues, 2017-18?
Keith, we've still got entrance signs there listed at 5,000. Have we, I know you and I haven't talked about it in recent times. Have you given any more thought to that?
We have. I'd actually tried to call some of the designers on the sign out in front of the building. And due to it being grouped with the building, it was hard to pull out a specific price on that. So I'm going to start researching some different avenues to come up with a price quote and see what we can come up with. Do you all wish to stay with the same design that we have in front of City Hall, or do you want to look at something different? Brick, do you want a post with some kind of sign in the middle?
I think the last time we talked about it, there was issues about what kind of material we could use and not get in trouble for using.
We'll have to deal with TDOT. I think with this project going on, it'd be easy to find the right person to contact and work out what issues we would have with using right-of-way right there to put the sign up, so that should be accomplishable now. And once we accomplish that, I think we can figure out what to move forward with.
Well, as far as that goes, if we have the money appropriated for it and we've got a general idea from TDOT what we can do, I've got no issue with letting the public issue some ideas. You know, if they want to turn them in here at City Hall, maybe even a slogan to put on it. We could, you know, and at least give them some ownership in it. I mean, because like all of us, we pass in and out of the main thoroughfares here too. So, you know, I'd like to hear, maybe they've got some good ideas of a design or a slogan or anything that we could put on it. So, how do y'all feel about that?
I like that idea.
Mm-hmm. So that's something we need to put in the works.
I'll try to get some design criteria from TDOT, and then I'll put together something to get public opinion and try to figure out a way to do that.
Just maybe you could put it on our new website and
We can
let
do that.
people, you know, put in what ideas they have, and maybe we can pick one, you know, from what they submit.
Well, it is their town, you know, it's not ours, it's theirs. We're just elected here to do what they want us to do, so I think that's a great idea. Let them tell us what they want. So,
I'll go to Tennessee, the greatest place in the world to live. I have to say it, I love this place.
The Quilt Festival Board asked that we put something about the Quilt Festival on it too.
okay, wrap up in a quilt and then live here. Okay,
Wrap up a quilt and settle down.
Have the stone cutter cut out a quilt.
that's right, there you go. All right.
Are we still, on the budget again, are we still, patrol cars are still listed there?
I left them on there. I think at this point, our best option would be to remove them.
Yeah.
I think we need to use them for another year, get the most use out of them we can, and get down to that, what seems to be the fair market value that everybody's looking for on those cars. Rather than try to purchase them again this year and continue on, I think we hold off a year and use what we've got and keep the one additional car that we're going to get rid of as a spare and continue with the program after next year.
Any other items about the budget? Okay, our next item is internet proposal for the new police software. You, Chief, or you, Keith?
Actually, it's, we have to get a fiber optic line to go from Alden PD to the sheriff's department so that he can explain more about it.
What has to happen, in order for this to work, we signed on with the county and 911 for the dispatch software and all of the program. That will not work over a regular network. It has to have a fiber network. We can possibly get fiber through Frontier, which is who we have now. One of the issues with that is going to be that 911, the Sheriff's Department, and the City of Cookeville have all went with Twin Lakes. And that would create us having to fight with two carriers if there was a problem. Twin Lakes has submitted a proposal. We have to have enough speed to carry the upload and download. The county, 911, Sheriff's Departments went with 500 up, 500 down megs on a fiber internet service. That's $299.99 a month. We can get 250 up, 250 down for $199.99 a month. Currently, for the police department, the internet is running $214.98 a month. We will have to get some additional hardware to be able to connect and make this system work, so we're working out the details of that. But I wanted to present this with you to see how you want to deal with this. My fear is if we stay with Frontier and start having issues, it's going to be a provider finger-pointing session of it's not on our side, it's on their side, or vice versa. We've had some issues with the elevator and the phone service. Of course, Frontier says it's not on their side, it's somewhere outside of here that it locks up, and it finally corrected itself after several phone calls and trying to trace it. It was able to be fixed. But what happens is you run into network errors where it doesn't communicate or doesn't properly transfer data like it's going to need to. With this software, it's going to require a lot of security and a lot of speed. And so my recommendation is that we look at least doing the fiber network with Twin Lakes. I think we could drop all of the other internet service providers off from City Hall and remain with Frontier for the telephone unless we get a better option from Twin Lakes. I am working on meeting with Frontier to see what they can come up with, as well as sitting down with Twin Lakes to give you proposals on both sides.
I say just get the proposals together and let's see what we got. It's better to look at it with numbers and see, and maybe have some of those folks come in and talk to us. You know, have them present at the meeting.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'd rather have an apples-to-apples comparison.
Yeah, and we need them here to tell us. And usually when you've got two of them here, you know, we're gonna talk the same talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Any other discussion on that item? Next discussion item is fire hall. Keith?
Fire hall contract was brought up last month. I have gotten copies of those contracts to the attorney. We are reviewing those to see that we are in line with what we needed to do. The fire hall contract was for just a fire hall at a set price. and the price has not changed, and we had already paid money down on that project. So after speaking with the architect at this point, if we switch, we would be out whatever money we've already expensed for the design to this point. However, we do have that option if you all wish to do that. John, have you had a chance to review any of that?
I've looked at it.
Okay. We'll sit down and discuss that further and make sure we come back with a definite answer for that question.
Is the county going to be able to help anything with the quarters for the ambulance service? I was told by county commissioner that it wasn't even proposed to the full commission. Is that the case?
They are going to do internally the bunkhouses inside the old fire hall, and that's the only thing it's going to require, so it didn't really require any funding. It was just a matter of getting their maintenance department to come over and redo those to where they could use them as bunkhouses. So
Okay.
it's not going to be a major issue, and as soon as I give them the word, they're ready to go.
Okay.
Do we have an idea about, or maybe even agreement with them about utilities and things like that already worked out?
We're working on sitting down and having a meeting, discussing that, and figure out what is the best option for us and for them to make sure we meet everybody's needs. So we're in the process of trying to get that meeting set up, so we are working on that.
Any other discussion on fire hall? Okay. Next discussion is water and sewer tap and sanitation fees. I guess we're talking about increases. I've gotten some calls from developers and some other concerned folks that live here. Keith, will you give us an update on what we're looking at?
What we're considering here is an increase in water and sewer taps. Would not affect current residents or current water rates. It would only affect new water taps and new sewer taps. We've experienced a 30% increase in parts over the last several years, partly due to the no lead requirements. Of course, fuel costs and everything else have increased. One thing that has been mentioned by developers is that City of Cookeville does do a subdivision connection charge where if the developer installs the system, they pay a decreased price. Currently, our inside 3/4 inch single water tap rate is $850. We were proposing to moving it to $1,105. One of the other things that has been mentioned is that outside city limits in Brotherton are two different rates. And I think that's been that way for several years. It might be a better recommendation that we only have an inside and outside city rate, that we do not specify the difference in Brotherton and outside the city. I feel like one of the reasons we have the Brotherton rate is because it is a lot farther out, a lot harder to get to, so that may be part of that. Pulled City of Cookeville's water connection charges and presented those to you. I've also pulled some other cities and started comparing. Sewer tap rates on ours are way behind. A multifamily sewer tap is $650 or $620 for residential, $650 for a multifamily. I was proposing moving that at least to $812 for residential, $845 for multifamily. This is just a start of where to go. I realize some of the developers, several have called and expressed concern. However, we do have to maintain the system. It does self-support, and there's no reason for the city residents to pay for a developer to come here and put part of the system on.
These increases that you're going from for the water, $850 to $1,105, you mentioned the 30% increase. Is those numbers, if we look at those, is that a 30% increase from $850 to $1,105?
It is.
The same, everything's 30%
Right.
increase.
And Director Jones has been pulling some price sheets of what it costs us just for parts on these. So we'll have some numbers to compare to, and we'll get those to you. This was just a starting point to get the conversation started and see how you all wish to address it. I can pull you some other cities. I've looked at them, and they're everywhere across the board. I mean, it's all different places and different things. So
When was the last time we had an increase?
the last ordinance we can find referencing the taps and rates was 07-08.
Okay. Well, we got to keep up with what the cost is, but we don't want to hurt our development coming in here, because when we get them here, they spend money. They spend money at Walmart. They spend money at the restaurants here, the Minute Marts, which brings money back in. We don't want to ward them off, because of that fee, where they can go somewhere else and build cheaper. But on the other hand, we have to keep up with the cost that's coming into us as well.
At present, with the rates where they sit now, are we losing money?
We're just barely breaking even at
Are
current.
they breaking even?
We're not making any major profit at this point, once we get everything settled out.
Okay.
And water and sewer must stand alone,
That's correct.
according to state law.
With these new apartments and stuff that's coming in, we're not making any money.
Well, you gotta figure sewer isn't really gonna make you any money. Sewer's always what we call a losing game. By the time you pay for upkeep and pumps and keeping stations up where they need to be, you're never going to make any money. You're always gonna be putting money in it, trying to keep it up and running. So water is where you make the money. You make more on water than you'll ever make on sewer because it doesn't require near the upkeep or near the maintenance that a sewer system does. We are making money and profitable, and we've never had an issue with the state. But with cost of materials going up and equipment and everything else, at some point it's going to catch up with us.
Does it have to be a 30% increase? I mean,
No, we could go-
10 or 15?
We can go anywhere less than that, and do however you all wish to do it. We could do even a 2-year staggered increment if you wanted to 1 year add a certain dollar amount and then second year add another amount, and that way it's kind of 2 small increments instead of 1 larger one.
Those prices are high.
Well, if we're just barely breaking even now, a little bit of increase would help us at this point.
That's just affecting the newcomers, right?
Yes,
Yes.
just the newcomers coming in.
They don't really know the difference.
Well, your developer will. That's the ones that's been called.
Well, he's gonna develop it no matter what. And this is a wonderful place to develop, looking cool, so many people are moving in this area.
Well, I can see it both ways. I mean, I agree that the smaller increment like he proposed, maybe a smaller increment this year and then a smaller one the next to get to where we need to be. But, like Dr. Hurd just said, I have to feel if a developer's coming in, they're looking at everything. They're looking at water availability and pressure, the sewer system, police, fire, garbage collection, all that good stuff. So I would hate to quote unquote scare away any type of new development, irregardless what it is, whether it's homes or business or whatever. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other discussion on that item? That brings us to the amended portion, discussion on, like you said, employee handbook.
yeah.
Okay.
There's a few items in it that I've reread over that I think we need to make some changes to. And I mean, we can each submit them. If we have changes, we can submit them to Keith to rewrite and approve. I mean, with the length of the meeting or everything, I don't want to go into any elaborate detail on that, but I mean, we need, there's just some thing.
Where would you like to start, from A to Z?
Yeah, because I mean, if we're going to talk about rewriting something, we're going to have to know where you're talking about.
Right, well,
I mean, this is an open meeting.
that leads me to this. I would really, really love to have work sessions again where we actually sat down and did things like this.
Well, I thought that's what we were doing here. I mean, we can still do it here in front of the public. I mean,
Well, yeah, that's fine.
I don't understand that.
That's fine.
To me, I think, we're here holding their business the way they want it. Why would we go back to another little room and go backwards when we're going forwards right now?
Well, there's,
You know what I'm saying? Let's do it here in front of everybody. We don't have
Prepared do
anything
that.
to hide.
We prepared to do that, and we can all bring our employee handbook, and we can all read it again and go through it and mark.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the employee handbook some of us voted on? I voted against it, but I mean, 'cause I didn't think it was right to start with, but that's beside the point. But Vice Mayor, you,
Okay, so now you have your chance to.
I voted again. Rewrite it out. I tell you what I think, here's one thing we need to do.
Okay,
Before we take that employee I have never worked at a place that I wrote my own employee handbook. You know what? I think we need to take our employee handbook, it needs to go to MTask or whoever, and let them look at it and make sure that it's fair for the city and it's fair for the employees.
I agree,
You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
And Keith did a great job putting it together. I think he did. And he made some good changes that needed to be changed.
Such as, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Well, you got the same, I don't
Okay.
have my book in front of me. You got the same book I did with it highlighted and turned upside down
Right,
that Keith put it together for us. So he did a good job in doing that.
right,
One thing I'll bring up right now, while we're gonna bring it up. When our employees depart from this city, I don't think they should receive their sick time. Their sick time is not a benefit. I don't know of many places, if any, that gives you your sick time when you depart. Now, your comp time, your vacation time, I'm with that. But the sick time, you got employees that's been here a long time that's gonna take that. That's taking a lot of money right out of your budget. And if every employee exited the city at the same time, do you know what your budget would be?
0.
Right there's what it would be. That's not doing the right thing for the citizens that sent us up here. That's not what we're sent here for. We have to manage their money, and it's our money as well.
Yep.
It's our money as well. And I'm not against the employees. I think that is our best asset. We need to be fair to them, and we need to be fair to our employees and our citizens. Because what if they all left? We'd have some explaining to do.
A lot of sidewalks.
Yes,
So
a
are
lot
you-
of sidewalks.
Are you saying that you would like to see it go to MTS?
I think that would be a fair thing to do, to send it to MTask.
Okay.
But if you feel like whatever change,
Oh,
is there any change? You wanted to see the changes, you wanted to bring it up.
Sure.
So tell me, since this was your idea on the handbook, and I'm not being rude,
Sure.
tell me what you've got in mind.
Good idea.
Something brought you to this
Well-
on the employee handbook.
Under section C, and I don't think everybody's had it, it says, "These rules and regulations shall cover all employees in the city service unless specifically exempted by this document, the city charter and/or the ordinance of the city, without regard to race, religion, origin, political affiliation, sex, age, or disability. All city offices and positions are divided into regular and exempt service." Okay, what does the term exempt mean here? Does that mean they are exempted because they're salary, they're exempted because they're at-will employees, they're exempted because, why? Because regular service to me means you punch a time clock, 40 hours, you're set on a wage, and that's what you take home on Friday afternoon. To finish that paragraph, the regular service shall include all regular full-time and regular part-time positions unless specifically placed in the exempt service. And then it lists those offices that are placed in the exempt service. And I'm just trying to get a definition of what exempt means here. What is that? Is that at will? Is that salaried? What is that?
John, you've not had a chance to read it.
We'd have to examine
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Sounds like it's a little keyhole that you can work, like how taxes, there's little entryways to get free tax, not have to pay taxes. It sounds like a little way to,
It also sounds like a Title VI issue too, isn't it, John? I mean, because you're doing with the discrimination portion, and that's what the Title VI is.
That would have to be in there in some form.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
If there's issue with the handbook, why don't each member bring that to the next meeting? If you see something, just write it down.
Sure.
Bring it, and we can send it to the attorney, look at it, and we can vote on it that way.
He should know it. He's our attorney.
Well,
That's not something that you should have to get back on. You should know it.
I can have a 250-page document memorized, miss.
Actually,
Like- To be fair, we can submit those and look at them. Even if we vote on it and then send it to him to review, and then send it on to MTask, however you want to do it. So you want to make your changes then between now and the next meeting?
sure, do you have a
Employee
copy?
handbook, I do have a copy.
Okay. Have you got a copy?
I've got one.
I don't know if my copy's the same as yours.
What do you mean?
It was put out in
I
our,
have copies
from our,
7 years ago.
Mhm.
I wouldn't keep that one around.
but we received it in our packets when we voted on it. When it was voted on then, do you not have that copy? If you
I'll
don't,
have to go back and
Keith-
look. If not,
Keith
Keith can get me
can get you one.
Yeah.
We can get
Yeah.
those.
get you those, okay?
I just want us to be clear on what is what in the book, because anybody reading this could get confused.
Certainly, yeah.
Mhm.
That's, we definitely need to go over that.
You really could get confused.
Should we just not go by that one until we get it fixed?
Well, it's
Can we
voted
not-
in as an ordinance,
I
you
know,
have
but
to
can
go
we
by that
not
one.
just stop this one and go off the one we had before this one until next month?
You have to vote by ordinance, you can't just put a stop to it.
No. We can be ready, the next meeting, bring our changes in. I mean,
What does the charter say about that?
charter don't
Can't we
discuss,
refer back to the charter if there's something wrong?
it doesn't address the employee handbook.
But for the council, can't we go back to the charter if we decide to suspend that until next month?
You
John?
can't suspend an ordinance, the employee handbook is a creature of an ordinance that was in
Right.
place, and without 2 hearings, you can't amend it or revoke it in total.
Okay. So we're back again, we'll bring changes back next month, is that what you want to do?
Well, it would seem that way.
Okay.
It would seem that way.
Okay.
Couple of other, I had a couple other items
Yeah,
I said there about.
Employee, you said was next.
Very good authority, very good authority. Guarantee you the man will walk in here and take an oath. I would really, really like to know why that at 5 minutes till 8 a.m., and please listen to those times, 5 minutes till 8 a.m., at a school almost 2 counties away, an all-good police car was delivering kids. And I know they get off at 6 a.m., nice plenty of time to go home and get your own vehicle, or they get on at 6 a.m. So somebody either decided not to go home and get their own car for 2 hours, or they left work and went and did it on their own. And I'd like to know why something like that is even happening.
Chief,
Personnel issue,
Hey.
they'd like to file a complaint, I'll look into it.
yeah,
Nobody's notified me of it, this is the first I'm hearing about it.
That's because it's the first time I said it.
well, he needs time to investigate it, so if you want to file, just get him the information, he can look into it and see.
I'm sure there'll be no reason to file a complaint.
Well, I mean, we can't have an investigation.
Do
if
we have
don't.
insurance for kids being in cars?
The-
Is that in our city policy?
It is in employee handbook. It says that employees may pick up their kids with their cars or other relatives when it is deemed necessary, yes.
What's deemed necessary?
When there's no other option of getting a vehicle to get to those kids.
And it was in the old one as well,
I
not
don't
just the
like
new
that.
one.
That could put the city at risk. If that officer was to have a wreck with a child in the car, who's gonna be at fault here? That's not right.
Mhm.
We can remove it. I had an officer ask me actually last week, when he left, he says, I need to go straight to school and get my kid in Overton County. Can I do that? And I said, yes, according to the handbook, if you have no way to get your other vehicle, you may do that.
I don't like that. I wouldn't want to put my child at risk, let alone anybody else's child.
Mhm.
All I'm saying is 2 hours from the time you leave work. Come on.
Have we had anybody that's worked over, I know without you knowing what officer it was, you're not gonna be able to look at a time card.
Maybe we should check into a time clock.
I wouldn't mind that at all.
Who are you
We
putting
had-
on the
we had
time
talked
clock?
about that before, hadn't we?
Who are you putting on the time clock?
Officers. Is
Just
that what you're saying?
officers?
Officers?
Everybody.
If you
Why
put,
shouldn't everybody be on a time clock?
if you put me on the time clock, you remove exempt status. I'm no longer salaried. You will pay my overtime.
He's right.
Well, a time clock would keep an honest man honest.
I'll be glad to punch the clock. I'll be glad to park the truck in the parking lot
I'm
if
not
that's what
talking
you
to
want.
Keith. I'm not
Well,
talking about
you're
you.
making it sound
That
like
is
you
not
are.
correct.
No,
I'm
no,
done.
I'm not.
That is not correct.
Okay. Do you have other items, other issues?
Yeah, I do. But we'll hear the citizens or delegations. So.
Well, I hadn't got to that point yet. As a chair, I decide that. If you're done with, are you done with any other issues you have? Okay. Now, that concludes the agenda changes that Vice Mayor had. That leads us to hearing of citizens and/or delegations. If you would like to speak, please approach the podium and direct your comments directly to the chair.
Mayor, I may be the only person in this room that it affects, but my suggestion or complaint or whatever it is I can't hear. I don't know whether everybody in this audience, if you can't hear, would you raise your hand? I'm not the only person.
Okay.
The sound system, I'll give the city manager credit. You can hear his word, every word, because he has a microphone right in front of his mouth. The tight microphones you have, if you don't speak directly into it, you can't hear anything. And if it's on your lapel, and I'm not blaming anybody, don't get me wrong, but if it's on your lapel and you turn your head away from it, you can't hear. It's a directional type microphone. You have to have it like you're fixing to eat it, and you can hear. And I don't know, I like to hear what's going on. And when y'all talk among yourselves, I'm totally lost. But that's just, it's some way or other.
Hang on just a
you
second.
can solve it.
Ms. Hawkins, he has the floor if you would. Hang on just a second if you'd like to speak.
But I
Okay.
talked to the city manager about it one night. He started holding it in his hand, and it worked great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
I'd like to make a comment on that. I have the same system in my music studio. It's the same one Britney Spears used to use back in the day. It's got a headset, the same one, it attaches to your ear, and it wraps around right here. It's got this big foamy thing. Well, they do have more attachments.
Yeah, okay. More attachments than what we've got is what you're saying. Okay, okay. All right.
Mayor, you mind if I check to see real quick?
If you check what,
If I check to see where it's good or where it's not?
yeah, that's
for
fine.
everyone?
Just a second. Mr. Cooper. Go
So,
ahead.
so we can definitely hear this, correct?
Okay.
Check.
We need to be-
How about this? Can you hear this?
No.
Okay. So,
This-
up
this
front's about the
doesn't
only way it's
work
gonna work.
either?
Okay.
This doesn't work either? Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I would just like to make a comment on the issue with the patrol car thing. If you do a evaluation throughout the city, the county, the state, and all these other counties, every county and every city allows their employees to pick those people up. Fire department does it, to pick those children up from school and take them home or take them back. If we have that in our handbook and we just passed this handbook, Can we not deal with this? I mean, since it's been years going, go to your other counties, get it evaluated, and see who allows it and who don't. How do the other counties pay for their insurance? I mean, how do the other counties transport it? Now, I know you're not allowed to answer my question right now, but get back on that. How do they pay for that? We would like to know that. And as far as Keith does a good job up here.
He does.
He does do a good job.
Does an excellent job. The reason where we are now is because of the hard work that Keith does every single day. That's exactly why we're where we are right now. All right, Ms.
Well,
Bibber.
hello.
Hello.
My name's Linda, and I am a tax-paying citizen in Allgood. And I want a show of hands of everybody in this room who has ever worked for a company that gave you your sick time when you left that company. We have 2
1,
men.
2.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. And I have worked for more companies than I bet you anybody in this room. Because I've not always stayed at one job. That is absolutely crazy. Why would you pay somebody their sick time? That is something that definitely needs to be addressed and needs to be removed from the handbook, the charter, the whatever you've got here. And like Ms. Bilbrey said, why don't you check around and see who else pays sick time to their employees? You'll find out maybe one company out of 10, 20 might do that. Do we really have that kind of money here at Allgood that you can afford to do that? I think you just need to reevaluate that completely.
It's not the employee's fault, and you know, hey, if I'm an employee and my company offered it, I'd take it too. I
Well,
can't blame them,
yes.
but we have to look at what would
But you need to
happen.
compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. And I don't think there's an employee, one, that works in the city of Allgood that's any better than any other employee at any other place. You really seriously need to look at that. When I heard y'all say that, whoo, my blood pressure went up.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's only covered in the employee handbook. I don't believe that's addressed in the charter, is it?
Not in the charter. It's
Okay.
employee handbook.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Hi, Linda Bennett.
Spin it.
Couple of questions. How far are the Allgood Police allowed to patrol outside the city limits?
Well, now, we've got an agreement now that we came up that we assist the county in that drug task thing. You'll have to be specific as to what officer that you saw.
My daughter, she lives, there's a trailer where they had the drug raid the other day, and Officer Bean said he was patrolling that area. It said in the paper tonight that he was patrolling that area and he recognized somebody. And that's what made him go in and do. I'm glad you did the drug bust, don't get me wrong.
Is this the one that we were talking, that, without saying too much, it started here in the city. It originated here. Yeah, well, yeah. And then it went on to several different areas in the city, and they were trying to get them.
Well, this was a meth lab. They busted meth lab out of my daughter's neighborhood, and that's way out of the city limits.
What area does she live in?
Oh. I wish you hadn't asked.
Sorry.
Shenandoah, right.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have a mutual aid agreement with the county in the White Plains and Shenandoah area and north to the county line. And I think with Cookeville City so far up 10th Street and 4th Avenue where it turns into Gibbons, is that right? Gibbons Road? So
you can
we do have a
patrol that.
mutual aid agreement with those agencies.
No, I just wondered, she asked me, because she sees the Allgood Police out there a lot at those trailers. I know there's a lot of bad stuff going on out there.
Okay.
Next question. I've talked to you about this before, and I've talked to Keith about it, and I've talked to I've talked to
Chief.
Gary about it, Sheriff Gary about it. Is there some way, since we have $8,300,000 in the budget, that we could get a police sign put on the police department? You know, what time can you get in to see a policeman in the afternoon? What time does this city hall close?
4 o'clock.
How you go about seeing a policeman after 4 o'clock?
Is it not posted on the end of the building, the phone number? It's where the police, you see the police cars, that's where the police door is. Yeah, logo on the outside the door, on that side of the building, with a phone number with it that you can call.
So what you have to do is go up to the police, but see, there's not marked police, Gary, it's not marked, it doesn't say police.
Yes, it does. It says on the end of the building, it says police, on the end of the building. Yeah.
You do have a sign?
Yeah.
Well, I have never seen that sign.
It's on the end of that building down there, just as big as day. It's down.
I've
It's down.
never seen that sign.
Walk by it before you leave, going to your office, and you'll see it down there on that end.
But someone asked me, they said if they need to see a police officer, and it's after 4 o'clock, when the office is closed, how do you go about seeing a police officer, other than picking up your phone, if you have a phone, but if you're being chased all over town by somebody or something, how do you get to a policeman? Why couldn't we have a telephone or something there at the police department? You could pick it up like they do over in Gainesboro, and the officer on duty would answer it. Why couldn't you do that? It's hard to get, you have to call the county, and then the county has to do, and they do a good job. I'm not fussing on you guys. I am not fussing on you. They always come out as soon as the county gets them. But that's a lot to do if you need to see a policeman, or if you want to talk to a policeman about something privately.
Of course, we don't have somebody here to do
Well, if you
that.
had somebody that was on duty, that phone could get routed to, so that they could get to you. You know, if you're standing there in front of the police department, and you pick up the phone and call, there should be somebody could come and answer that phone and come to you.
There's a problem there though with, say they're searching a building and have that phone, building is met, building, net that, then you're gonna make them for a call, that's when that does.
Well, yeah, it might be better to route it to the county, because if you've got an officer that's gonna approach in a car, and it's at night, he takes the point of putting the spotlights right on the car where his presence is not known, and just as he walks up to the door or starts to walk up, the phone goes off. Miss Jones has got a dog in her neighborhood that she don't like. Now you put your officer in danger, because now the person or the violator in that car knows exactly the location of your officer. That's an officer safety issue. Now, if you have on the end of that building that it would go to the county, now that would probably be a better instance.
That's how it goes now. And you know what the county will ask you? What do you want the police for?
Well, then that's an issue we need to address with
It
dispatch.
happens all the time.
Of course, that's, of course, that is another officer safety issue.
Yeah.
Because, obviously, we're having officers in ambushed now, not
Yeah.
here, but, in larger cities, and that's calling things that next.
Right.
We do wanna know how.
Yeah, they ask you when you call them, what are you calling them for? So there you go. You can't just get to a policeman unless you come here during the day and they're here. And if you want to see a policeman during the day, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have to come in the front office, go to the water lady, ask her to talk to a policeman. She'll say, stand out in the foyer. Then they call a policeman that's there, and he comes out in the foyer, and there you have to have a conversation with a policeman. You can't get in the police department. There's no way.
Okay. So your issue is that you should have privacy when you talk to an officer, is that
Yeah, we
right?
should be able to reach our policemen when
Okay.
we want to.
Well, that,
Be able to talk to them.
Do we have any extra rooms down there we can set up for police, communication with the public?
We have rooms, a lot of times they'll bring them back into a room. If it's not something sensitive information, they'll talk to them out in the lobby, it depends on what it is. I mean, we can start bringing them back every time, I mean, it's not an issue.
But that's,
that'd be okay? You think that would
well,
remedy
think
what?
about why I said, because it's hard to get a policeman sometimes. It's not hard after you call
Well-
the county and you tell the county, oh, let me see, my neighbor's beating the heck out of me, would you hurry up and get over here and help me?
Well, here's the thing. Here's and of course you know what I do for a living. Do you really want your officer sitting here in the building waiting on your call, or you want him in your neighborhood looking
I
for
want him in
things
the
going on?
neighborhood. But
You know,
it-
that's an issue.
But in Gainesboro, they got a telephone, and they call the one on duty, and he
Mm-hmm.
comes.
Okay. We'll look into what our avenues are and,
But you do have a sign out there.
yeah, there's a sign out there.
Is it a big sign?
Well, I see
Is
it and I'm
lit up?
blind.
Is it a lit up sign?
You know, I got glasses, I can still see it, you know, so.
It's not a lit up sign.
But just look at it when you start to leave, and it's down there on that side of the building, on the door. And it's
It's
right.
on the door.
The door right there. You see the police cars, you see the door, you see the sign. So just look at, and there's numbers. I think the number's there too, is it not, Chief? The call? The number's not, yeah, number's there to call the phone of whoever's working.
So you can get up, you have to come into the police department and park there and go up to the door and get the number and call.
Well, you'd have to do the same thing with the phone. If you pick the phone up, you'd have to do the same thing.
But you can actually see it from the phone call.
Yeah,
And of course, if it's an emergency, you can put 911
yeah.
Yeah, I realize that. I mean, they always tell you to call 911 if it's emergency, but I never knew you had a sign.
Yeah, it's,
I was looking for a sign that looked like this, that said police on it, and it was all lit up.
yeah, well,
That's the police sign I was looking for.
yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Bennett.
Okay, no, I haven't kept up with it.
I'm Richard Wood. I don't know how many of you have recently noticed, we now have a website that is functioning.
That's right.
If you have any questions, you could probably go right down that list right there, and you'll find it on that website. That's one of the things that I really like, that, and as you said, Mr. Mayor, Keith had a great big hand
He did.
in doing, and he doesn't get enough attaboys. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're right.
He catches more, you know what,
He does. He sure does.
But I just wanted to compliment him, and also the other thing I would like to see is I would like to see you, Mr. Mayor, and some of the people here on the council. I would like to see you down there beating on the heads of the people that are in development for Putnam County to try to help get more businesses in this city. Because that's what's gonna sustain us in the long run, is you get businesses, because that does what? It brings in jobs. You get jobs coming in here, you got a lot of people in this city that need jobs, and it would help facilitate the economics.
Let's
Thank
see
you.
what we can do. Anyone else? That being said, check out the website. Keith done a lot of hard work there. A lot of time he put in on that.
I'm Jody McCartney, and I'm a proud citizen of Allgood.
Yes, ma'am.
And I love this town, and lived here about 50, 60 years now. And it's always been a loving town. It's been a great place to live. And it really bothers me that now we're kind of becoming the news for the county. If it's good news, that's great. We want that. Yeah, we really want it. If it's bad news, it's hurting us. I didn't want to really bring this up, but the last time we met in here, it was a big public show, and apparently for no good reason. It's not been mentioned since. We don't know what happened. I feel like feel very strongly about one thing. Our building says, "In God we trust." If we are practicing slander or improprieties in any way, maybe we need to spend more time in church or somewhere, because the Bible sure does tell us about not suing each other and not slandering each other, and a lot of things that we seem to be getting some kind of word about, which we really don't know what it is. But anyway, I respect the law enforcement. They do a great job here. And I just felt like somebody needed to stand up and say, please forgive us if we have done a wrong thing in this town by slandering or by causing people's reputation to be tarnished. Please forgive us. And thank you, council, and good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else? Amen. Amen. All right. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And a second.